Hello and welcome to a Patreon exclusive episode of Allegedly Astrology, where we break down the astrology that happened during some of the biggest scandals and events in history. Dana, what are we covering on this episode?
Today we're talking about Martha Stewart.
And before we get into the episode, we have to welcome two of our newest patrons. So welcome Heather and Leah.
Hi, Leah.
We love our patrons. We love our new patrons. We're so excited to have you. So if you didn't already know, Martha Stewart is an American retail businesswoman, writer, mother, and TV personality. She's the founder of Martha Stewart Living Omni Media. She has written numerous best-selling books. I think she has literally like 100 cookbooks, was the publisher of Martha Stewart Living magazine, and hosted two TV shows, Martha Stewart Living and The Martha Stewart Show. And at the age of 81, could you believe that woman is 81? Go look her up. She posts great thirst traps. Martha became the oldest woman to appear on the cover of Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue magazine. She also went to jail for a little bit for insider trading and is besties with Snoop Dogg. So let's learn about her and her astrology.
So Martha was born to Martha and Edward Kostraya. She's Polish, which fellow Polish woman. I also feel like there's not enough women that name their children after them.
I agree, yeah.
In the book, she had a very strong mother, and I feel like any mom who's like, fuck yeah, I'm the best, names their kids after them, which good for her.
The only other person I've ever met, besides, not that I've met Martha, but the only other woman that I know of that has her mother's name is one of my friends in Miami. Brenda's mom's name is Brenda.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
And Brenda has a Martha sort of vibe.
Yeah, the name is not.
Confidence.
Brenda's name doesn't match Brenda's personality. Let's just say that.
Yeah, no, totally.
She's one of one.
Yes, one of one. So Martha's parents were teachers, and her dad would later become a pharma salesperson. And she's the second of 6 children, so big family.
And growing up, Martha Stewart babysat for New York Yankees baseball players like Mickey Mantle and Yogi Berra, Sheik, and she started modeling at 15 and was in commercials and magazines.
Her mom also taught her to cook and sew, and she got really into canning and preserving. And her dad loved his garden, so he passed that love and expertise on to her. So what's Martha's astrology like?
Martha Stewart was born on August 3rd, 1941 at 1:33 p.m. in Jersey City, and she has a Leo sun, a Sagittarius moon, and a Scorpio rising. And I feel like this really is the big two, or the big three, not the big three of someone who is both a hunter and a gatherer, a hybrid of those two things, right?
I'm just shocked to see she doesn't have Virgo in her big three, but I think there is probably some prominent Virgo placements, because I feel like she
North
comes
Node is
across
conjunct
as
Neptune in Virgo, and her Venus is in Virgo too as well.
Her whole personality is so the pursuit of perfection.
Yeah, she says perfect so much. In the Martha documentary, there's this super cut of her saying, perfect, perfect, perfect from all of her shows. And yeah, that's what everyone talks about her, is she's perfect at everything that she does.
That sounds stressful, but hey.
Sorry to throw you off. It also makes sense that she's a Scorpio rising, because until Martha, the documentary, we really did not know much about her, as a person.
And she ended up hating the documentary, which I feel
so funny.
Any Scorpio who agrees to do this is just I don't want anyone to know about me. I don't know. I don't like this.
So she's a Leo sun. Her sun's in domicile, very strong. It's in her natal 10th house, so it's very prominent in her chart. It's what she's known for. She's literally known for being famous, and she's the personality of a Leo sun. She's confident, outgoing, curated. There's a curated exposure with her big three in general because of her Scorpio rising. So the Leo sun in the 10th house has a Scorpio rising necessarily. So it's going to be very sort of choosing what you want to put out there. And like you said, when things get out and maybe they're not, carefully sort of chosen, it could cause stress. Also, living her life under a microscope, Leos sort of are very used to getting attention, whether they like it or not. I mean, they often like it and need it, but, it's something that isn't always within their control when they receive it, and for what? Striving for success and the higher likelihood of fame and notoriety with the sun in the 10th house. and on her midheaven. And people, I think, probably assume things come naturally to her. And it makes sense because probably many things do. And she probably makes a lot of things look easy. But I feel like she also might not get credit for the hard work she puts into both her many achievements as well in maintaining her talents.
Yeah, I feel like
She
a lot of
definitely does.
Leos, it's kind of like people don't give them enough credit for how hard they work.
Yeah. And then she has a Sagittarius moon. It's in her natal second house, ruled by her Jupiter in detriment, in Gemini, in her 8th house. So she's in her Jupiter return too. Actually, she and our Jupiters are in partial conjunction. What do you know about that? I wish I was as type A as her. So yeah, so
But you
this
could
is
marry rich.
Yeah. Well, mine's not in my 8th house, but this doesn't mean I can't marry
damn.
rich.
She's very rich.
In fact, if I marry, I plan to marry rich. So she gets taken for granted, but also, marries rich. That's what having Jupiter in the 8th, especially a detriment to Jupiter in the 8th house, is about. And then she has a Sagittarius moon, so she's perfect. Just kidding. She's gregarious. She's fun-loving. She's passionate. She needs a hill to die on. She needs a passion in life. And if she doesn't have it, it eats her alive. But passion's also a resource for her, with that being in her second house and also in her natal second house. The second house has to do with resources. So it's both about money and food and her livelihood, which sort of is all really tied together. She's been on, spoiler, Wall Street. And in case you guys didn't know, she's a really good chef. She seems to be known for that. And then she has her Scorpio rising. So she's private. She's concerned with perfection. Scorpio, I guess, is also, I said it. She's, they're also really into perfection. Maybe it has to do with Virgo being on their 11th house of ideals. Caring, she's in tune, also cold and calculating, determined, very compassionate, selective, intuitive. She has guts as well as her, she's with her intuition. She just thinks through her gut. And she's a control freak. And her rising is ruled by Mars in domicile in Aries, rejoicing in her 6th house. So this bitch gets shit done. She's my productivity hero again. My type A queen, definitely the girl boss prototype, the original influencer. And I think monuments should be erected in her honor. And then just some things that I thought were interesting. Her Uranus stationed retrograde 33 days after she was born. Her Mars stationed retrograde 34 days after she was born. Her Saturn stationed retrograde 38 days after she was born. So ages, her 30s were a life-changing time for her. 33 to 38, give or take years. Within that, all of that would have been a major round. So that's just pretty interesting. Her whole chart's very cool. She has Saturn conjunct Uranus in the 7th house in Taurus. A lot of Saturn Tauruses end up being rich. And then conjunct Uranus is Uranus can add genius to it. It can also be having a partner whose money fluctuates, and all because it's in her natal 7th house. But yeah, and then her Mercury in Cancer, which rules that Venus in fall in Virgo, these two are going to be very oriented towards the earth and cultivation, right? Cancer is sort of the original dinner host. So I don't know. Her chart's cool. It's very on brand.
I also think because the one thing, I didn't know that much about Martha until I watched her documentary. And the one thing that I noticed was that it seems she has a very hard time articulating her emotions, or at least she doesn't want people to know about her emotions. Even her daughter said she was kind of a cold mother. And so...
Did she name her daughter Martha?
No, her daughter's name is Alexis. I'm pretty sure. I think it's Alexis. I have to look.
Yeah, I think so too.
But I wonder if it's just that Scorpio rising, just not really wanting to show that much.
Sure. Also,
emotion.
her Mercury and Moon are exactly in conjunct. So her Moon is at 25 degrees Sagittarius. Her Mercury is at 25 degrees Cancer. So they are quincunx. They're in conjunct. So articulating her feelings would be tough in that instance. It's something that she would have to work on. And with Sagittarius, there's a tendency to overshare. With Cancer and, of course, Scorpio, there's a desire to be private and protective of oneself and people they care about. So that's interesting.
So Martha continued to model in college. She even modeled for brands like Chanel, which helped pay for her tuition.
She just casually modeled for Chanel.
Impressive.
I know.
She also met her future husband in college too. His name was Andrew Stewart. He at the time was a student at Yale. They get married super young, she's still in college, and they have a long honeymoon. I think they're in Italy or something for 6 months. And she goes back to school after the honeymoon and graduates with a double major in history and architectural history.
Yeah, and it was so funny in the documentary when she just talked about how she had that whirlwind one-day affair with someone while on her honeymoon. And then she divorced her husband because he had an affair.
Yeah, she made out with like a stranger in a church.
She was like, no, barely.
She was like, it was emotional or whatever. Or it was the emotion because she went to a cathedral because Andrew was Jewish and it was Easter. So she wanted to go to a cathedral and he was like, no, I'm not going to church. So she's in this cathedral in Rome and sees this hot guy and they just like make out in the cathedral. So I loved it.
Sacrilege of you, Martha.
I know.
Martha then gets his job as a stockbroker. And Andrew gets a big deal job in publishing, and they buy a big house together on farmland in Connecticut. They start renovating it and creating a beautiful garden. So they're like around all these rich people. And she's like, you know what? I'm going to start having parties.
And she's really good at it. So she starts a catering business out of her basement. But everything she does at their parties, it's very perfect. It's very extra. And these parties catch the eye of a publisher at one of the parties that she's doing. And the publisher is like, I want to help you write a book about this. So she writes this book, her first one, called Entertaining, and it becomes super popular. So what was going on?
Okay, this was December 13th, 1982. 2 days later, December 15th, there was a solar eclipse in Sagittarius conjunct Neptune and her natal moon in her second house. So this is earning money. It's also about creativity with Neptune there. So she knew how to make money, but this is a completely new way. She didn't maybe expect it. It was, took her by storm. Then if we look at these charts, the transits layered with her solar return for that year, she was in a sixth house, Aries, Mars year. So her natal time lord is in domicile in the perfected sign. It's also her chart ruler at Mars and Aries. And so I said earlier that her Mars stationed retrograde when she was 34. It's the first perfection year when her retrograde Mars would be highlighted. And her solar return Mars was also in domicile in Scorpio in her natal first house. And it's conjunct solar return Jupiter. So Jupiter is enhancing sort of the luck and the power that comes with this. And it's in her first house. So she's in the spotlight. It's sort of how I envision the first influencer. She's selling herself as well. Like she was the brand. And then transiting Saturn was in Scorpio in her natal first house, conjunct her solar return Mars and Jupiter when the book came out. And so Saturn conjunct Mars and Jupiter, it's adding staying power. It's not just a quick transit with Mars tends to be quick, even though Scorpio really plots. Mars is giving her the commitment and the attention for the go of it. So she gets that Jupiterian eclipse in her second house, which gives her more money. And she's being recognized also for the things she cooks, the things that she makes, which is also very second house. And altogether, this is very creative wins.
Creative wins. We love it. To hear the rest of this episode, including some of Dana's craziest predictions, subscribe to the Allegedly Astrology Patreon. For just $5 a month, you get 2 extra bonus episodes, monthly horoscopes, and more. See you there.